Hello and welcome to English Classes Online. My name is Benjamin. In today's lesson, we want to look at the Duolingo English Test. This is the best IELTS alternative if you are, seeking admission into colleges or universities abroad, and you need to take an English proficiency test. I recommend this Duolingo English Test for you. Now let's find out what it is all about. We are going to look at 7 items on our agenda. Number 1, what is Duolingo English Test all about? Number 2, why should you choose the Duolingo English Test? 3, what do Duolingo questions look like? Number 4, the test structure. Number 5, how the test is set up. Number 6, the test process. And number 7, the strict rules that you are expected to adhere to on test day. So let's look at this one by one to give you, an overview of what you must know about the Duolingo English Test. Now, first of all, what is Duolingo English Test all about? Now, you can call it DET or DET for short, is the Duolingo English Test, all right? But you need to understand that it differs slightly from IELTS, TOEFL, and other English proficiency tests because this is a digital English language proficiency test. It is computer-based and it uses adaptive, answer adaptive system. All right, I will explain this. Now, as I earlier mentioned, is for those who are seeking admission into colleges and universities abroad. So the Duolingo test will evaluate your language skills in terms of reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Of course, over 3,000 educational institutions presently accept the Duolingo English Test in over 50 countries, all right? Now, we are going to look at other aspects of this particular test. Now, why should you choose the Duolingo English Test? Number 1, it is convenient. You can take the test online at your convenience place. You can take it at home or you can take it from anywhere and you can take it at any time. That's number 1. The other advantage is that the test is short. It lasts only for 1 hour as compared to IELTS where you have over 2 hours, all right? Now, another thing is that if you have to go for the IELTS test or the TOEFL, each of them, requires you to go to a particular official testing center, but in the case of Duolingo, you can do it right from home because it's an online test. It's a computer-based test that you can do right from the comfort of your home. Then it is something that enables you to get your results fast within 48 hours, all right? You can get your results, unlike in IELTS and others where it takes up to 2 weeks, right? Then another advantage is that it's quite affordable. You pay $49 for Duolingo English Test, unlike IELTS that we, in some cases charge hundreds of dollars, So now it's also, something that is recognized, as I earlier mentioned, in several universities. So if the university you are applying to recognizes the Duolingo English Test, then why bother yourself with the other tests that will require more in terms of costs financial costs, time, and all that. Okay. And another thing also is that, I can say that Duolingo test is easier too. The questions are not as complicated as you will find in the other tests, okay? So there are many advantages, really. Then what do Duolingo questions look like? All right, now you need to understand that the questions in this test are answer adaptive. What does this mean? It means that, the questions change depending on the strength or accuracy of your last answer. If you answer a question correctly, you might be given a more difficult question next. But if you answer a question incorrectly, you might get an easier question after that. Now, the reason being that, it is your level, your degree, your level. The test is about finding your level, whether you are a beginner or an intermediate or you have gotten to an advanced stage. So that is what the test is about. In other words, if you answer beginners questions correctly, then you might be given some intermediate questions. If you answer them correctly, you might be given some advanced questions. So that means that if at the end of the test, your experience is that all the questions were more and more difficult, it really means that you were doing well and then you were taken higher and higher. But if you were always giving easy tests throughout, it means that you didn't really get the answers correctly. All right, so that is exactly. So if you come out of the test feeling that the questions were really tough, really difficult, perhaps that means that you've done well, right? Now, Duolingo question types and exam patterns. What do they look like? Now, you need to understand that they are a little different from the questions you have in IELTS, TOEFL, and others. Now, as I earlier mentioned, the Duolingo English Test is adaptive, all right? Is adaptive. Now, there's something called Computer Adaptive Test, CAT. And of course, that's what you find in Duolingo. Now, when you look at the Duolingo questions, you discover that the questions are not grouped section by section as you find in IELTS. They are not, they don't have separate sections for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. The Duolingo exam test, all of these are tested during the adaptive test, okay? So you might find, each question, testing two skills at a time. For example, listening and writing, okay? Now, after the adaptive test, you will have a 10-minute interview section where you can speak for up to 3 minutes about a topic. And you might be allowed to choose, between 2 prompts, okay? Now, what do Duolingo questions look like? Now, these questions, you need to understand, as I earlier mentioned, that it is adaptive in nature. And of course, that makes it difficult to predict exactly what the question types, will exactly be. You can't predict the ones to expect. But there are some frequently occurring questions that we can look at that, yes, of course, you can expect these types of questions to come out. For example, questions like listening to spoken words and passages to determine true or false answers. Checking over written words, selecting the real words. You might be given a list of words and you have to identify which of them are real English words, okay? Then filling the missing letters in a text. You might be given a passage and then some letters are missing in some words and you need to figure out the missing letters and you need to fill them in. Then it could be a verbal description of an image. You are given an image and you are asked to describe the image. It could be self-recorded sentences, all right? It could also be answering questions verbally. It could be responding to a written question, you know, writing samples and so on, okay? You might be asked to write down what you hear. So there are different types of questions that you should expect in the Duolingo test. Now, let's look at the test structure. And this is what we find in Duolingo English Test Official Guide 2022. Now, the length of the test is usually 1 hour. So you need 1 hour of interrupted free time to take this Duolingo English test. Now, take note that the first 5 minutes is for going through the rules and requirements of the test. Then you have the next 45 minutes, which will be for the test, to test your reading, speaking, listening, and writing skills, okay? Then the last 10 minutes is for a video interview where you'll be answering some open-ended questions that will be recorded. Now, what you need to know about the adaptive testing. You know, the Duolingo English test is a computer adaptive test. And this means that the question sequence and how difficult it is, you know, we change for each test taker and for each section, depending on how you are, you know, answering the question. As I earlier mentioned, it is adaptive. The test has a few differences from other tests you may have taken, because here, you know, you are dealing with what is called artificial intelligence, okay? The questions are generated randomly, okay? So it's not something that is structured like IELTS. The questions are given to you randomly and they change depending on your responses, okay? So is answer adaptive. Now, there's only one section, and so it differs slightly from other tests. So you won't see the same types of questions grouped together, all right? So different questions will appear one after another. You will not know which type of question will be asked next, okay? And then the length will vary as well, okay? The difficulty of the question will change dynamically throughout the test. So some questions may seem easier or harder than others, and that's what you will normally expect in the Duolingo English test. Now, still on, you know, the test structure, talking about the adaptive length. You see, there is no set number of questions. The test ends when the grading engine is confident in your score. Take note of this. So it's a unique experience. The test questions draw from an extremely large pool. So it is unlikely that you will encounter the same question twice, no matter how many times you take the exam. So that's the adaptive nature of the test, all right? Then how the test is set up. Let's take a look at this. You will also find this in the official guide 2022. Now, the introduction and the onboarding, 5 minutes, So you need to ensure that your computers, cameras, speakers, and microphone are functioning properly. You need to submit your government-issued photo ID, and you need to review the test rules and requirements. Make sure you understand everything and that you have gotten things in order. And then comes, the adaptive test, which will last for 45 minutes, all right? And it measures your English skills through a series of different question types, all right? Don't forget, as I earlier mentioned, that the test questions are given randomly. And, if you give a correct answer, you might be given a more difficult question. If you give an incorrect answer, you might be given an easier. So it's structured in that way. That's the way the test is set up, okay? And then, we have the last 10 minutes, which of course is where you'll be answering some open-ended questions, okay? You might be given some writing sample and speaking sample. You'll be given a prompt and asked to respond at length, okay? Now, the speaking sample allows for a 1 to 3 minute response, and the writing sample allows for a 3 to 5 minute response, okay? So that is exactly about how it is set up. Then the process, the test process. The test lasts for 1 hour. That's 60 minutes, as I earlier mentioned. And this is divided into 2 sections, the adaptive testing and the video interviews. 5 minutes are allowed for, introduction and onboarding to guide you through all the rules and requirements of the test. Then you'll be evaluated based on your reading, speaking, listening, and writing skills, during the 45 minutes adaptive test. Then the last 10 minutes will be, for the video interview, where you'll be answering some open-ended questions that will be recorded, okay? So that's the process. Then last but not the least, what are the strict rules that you should adhere to on the test day? This is very important. Now, number 1, you need an ID issued by the government, such as a passport, a national ID, or a driver's license. Now, another rule is that you need to have, or a requirement, if you like, a stable internet connection and a browser that works with the test, okay? So, of course, we are going to have a series of, practice tests, and I will show you exactly how you get these things fixed, okay? You get them well organized. Now, you need a well-lit, quiet area, probably your room, where no one can disturb you. You can't afford to do the test in a place where people will come in and go out, because the moment that happens, then you will be disqualified. So take note of this. Make sure you have an uninterrupted 1 hour for the test, and then you take the test in a secluded place where nobody will disturb you. Very, very important. Then you need a computer with a built-in front-facing webcam, speakers, and microphone. Take note that you won't be allowed to have earphones, all right, because they want to prevent cheating. So you won't be allowed to use earphones. If you use earphones, you'll be disqualified. Now, these are the basic things that you need to know about the Duolingo English Test, all right? So, and this is where we draw the curtain on today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Now, if you have signed up already for this training course, congratulations. If you are yet to sign up, I urge you, I implore you to go ahead and sign up, all right? So that you will be part of this course. And of course, this course will give you adequate preparation. The aim of this course, this training course, is to ensure that you are given adequate tips and tricks and strategies for answering questions correctly in the Duolingo English test. And after going through this test, you should be able to walk into the exam feeling very comfortable and very confident, because you know exactly what you are going to do, and you are going to do them well and score the maximum marks and achieve your dream scores, all right? So that is what this training course is designed to give you. So if you have not signed up for the course, go ahead and sign up for the course, and I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Goodbye for now, and remain blessed.